Hola, bienvenidos, fanáticos del boxeo. Good morning and welcome, fans of the sweet science of boxing. This is Coach Mario, owner and head coach of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy here in Miami, Florida. Welcome you to another episode of Inside the Ropes with Coach Mario. Inside the Ropes with Coach Mario, where we always try to bring you new information, breakdown of fights, my personal opinion about upcoming fights. We're on a roll. We've been on a roll for the last five fights. We have been very successful picking up the rightful winners on each one of these fights. And this basically has been based on my experience in boxing, the decades of boxing experience that I have since an early childhood, raised in Puerto Rico, watching pro fights and being a boxer back in the day, back in the island, in the Marine Corps, and then afterwards on competitive boxing in Puerto Rico, and for the last decade or so here in Miami, Florida, as the head coach and trainer and owner of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy, 8 consecutive Miami Best Boxing Instruction Award recipient. Here we are again with another episode, a really good episode of Inside the Ropes with Coach Mario. Like I said, we try to bring you information, my personal opinion, and a breakdown of fights, upcoming fights, commentaries, and anything that has to do with the sport of boxing, all right? Sometimes controversial, sometimes not. Like I said before, all I'm trying to do is state my opinion on the subject of boxing, and hopefully you guys will be able to assist me and either agree or disagree with my opinions. That is what I like to do. I like to have a honest debate with knowledgeable fans, people that know the sport of boxing, people that have been following boxing for a long time. I look forward always to hearing from commentaries from you guys. And early this morning at Warriors Pride Boxing Academy, I train a couple of my fighters. My mornings are usually the same. Get up at about 3:30 in the morning. Don't have breakfast. I just go straight with a little bit of water and some of these apple cider vinegar for medicinal purposes. You know, it sets up really good in my system. Early in the morning, I drive up to my gym, which is maybe 15 minutes away from where I live. 15-20 minutes, open the doors, get everything squared away, and start training and welcoming some of my guys, some of the guys that I train early in the morning, all right? But anyway, I'm done with my morning training. I'm back at my home office where I do some office work and try to do some accounting and other stuff pertaining to my business. And I always take time, guys. I've been trying to take some time off during the week to bring you commentaries of upcoming fights. There's been a lot of good fights in the past month or a couple of months. It's been since Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, where we personally went to Madison Square Garden and were able to see an epic match. And if you want to go back to some of my episodes, I have a rant of a commentary about what transpired that night, my personal opinion. And I'm looking forward to seeing those two tangle up again. And next time it apparently is going to be in her home country, the Katie Taylor's country of Ireland. All right. But today, this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming fight this next weekend in Australia. All right. In Australia, George Kambosos Jr. versus Devin Haney, and that's going to be held at Marvel Stadium in Melbourne, Australia, June 5th. All right, June 5th. Devin Haney versus George Kambosos, the unified champion. He actually holds multiple belts. You know, this guy beat, surprisingly, was an upset, beating Teofimo Lopez not too long ago. He has been waiting to fight top contenders. Originally, it was said he was going to face Vasily Lomachenko, but since Lomachenko has been tied up with things going on in his country, with the tragedy going on in his country, and he's been focusing more on taking care of his countrymen and actually responding to the call of patriotism back in his country. That fight has not happened. So the next thing would be, the next best thing was to unify the title with another belt holder, with another champion, which is Devin Haney. All right, so George Kambosos Jr. Going back to George Kambosos Jr., he is the lightweight champion. He holds the WC Super title, the IBF, WBO, and the Ring Lightweight Magazine title since 2021. All right, since last year. He is 5'9.5". He's got a 68-inch reach. He's 28 years of age. He was born in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. And this guy has Greek heritage. I believe he has a Greek family background, but he is born and raised in Australia. You can tell by his accent when you hear him talking that he sounds very, very from down under. All right, his boxing record, his total fights is 20 fights, 20 wins, and 10 wins by knockout. That's exactly 50%. 50% of knockout ratio. All right. His professional career has been one that is undefeated. He has never lost. His last fight was again with Teofimo Lopez, where he won a split decision victory on November 27th, 2021. So last year. He hasn't fought since then. His last 3 fights, curiously, I'm looking at his box record here, and his last 3 fights have all gone split decision victory. All right, he fought Lee Selby. He won a split decision victory over 12 rounds. He fought in England. That was in 2020. Then in 2019, he fought against Mickey Bay. He won a split decision victory, 10-round split decision victory at Madison Square Garden in New York. And before that, he has several fights, but his last knockout, his last stoppage, technical knockout, or decision by way of knockout was in June 7th, 2019 against Richard Peña. All right, that is George Kambosos Jr. Now let's go over to Devin Haney. Devin Haney holds the WBC lightweight title since 2019. As of May 2022, he's ranked as the world's 4th best active lightweight by the Ring magazine. All right, Devin Haney, the Dream Haney. All right, the Dream Haney. He's a lightweight also, 135 pound. He's 5'8". He has 71 each reach advantage. He has 2-inch reach advantage. Over George Kambosos, 2 or 3 inches. He was born in USA, San Francisco, California. He's 23 years old. He's a righty. His boxing record, total fights, 27 fights, 27 wins, 15 wins by knockout. So he's got a little bit over 15% knockout ratio. George Kambosos, Ferocious Kambosos, that's how they call him, has a 50% ratio of knockouts. All right, so his next fight will be try to unify that title with George Kambosos Jr. June 5th, 2022. Again, in Marvel Stadium in Melbourne, Australia. So he's going to be fighting in front of Kambosos countrymen, hostile crowd. He's going into the wolves den, guys. And sometimes that's motivating. That's a motivating factor when you go somewhere else, when you are able to achieve, overcome that nervousness and overcome, the local favoritism towards your opponent mentally, and you're able to overcome all of that and actually face and defeat a local opponent. That is something that Devin Haney is going to have to face. He's going to have to face hostile crowd, most likely judges, partial judging based on the promoter. So he's going to be facing a lot of obstacles in order to beat George Kambosos. I'll give you my perspective and my prediction regarding this. All right. Again, Devin Haney, his last 4 fights, just like George Kambosos, have all come by decision. All right. George Kambosos had 3 fights, 1 by unanimous decision and 3 by split decision. In this case, Devin Haney has his last 4 fights have been all won, have gone the distance, 12 rounds, and all gone to the scorecards. He's won by unanimous decision in each one of these. All right. His last one was against Joseph Diaz. He beat Jorge Linares. He had a really bad time with Jorge Linares. Actually, I believe Jorge Linares, younger Jorge Linares, a prime Jorge Linares would have knocked him out. But that's just my opinion. He fought Yuriorki Gamboa. He beat him on a 12-round decision. And his last knockout came September 13, 2019, when he beat Zaur Abdullayev. That's the last time that Devin Haney has stopped an opponent. All right, what does this mean? What this means basically is both of these guys have average power. They do have, they've been kind of active. Now, I see that Devin Haney has faced more talented opposition, if you want to put it that way. His last fights, he fought Joseph Diaz, Jorge Linares, and Yuriorki Gamboa. Okay, 2 of these guys were way past their prime, Linares and Gamboa, but still they can give you a good fight. And George Kambosos, on the other hand, has fought his last fights before Teofimo Lopez were with opponents like Lee Selby and Mickey Bay. All right, those are guys that are good fighters. However, they are not elite fighters in my opinion, or have been elite fighters, top 10 fighters, and that might be the difference between both of these guys. Okay, the experience that these guys had, and their last fights have been, more or less have been against, fair opponents. Okay, opponents that have not had that much renown. Let's put it that way. They haven't had that much to offer, because Kambosos and both Haney have fought guys that that are not elite or that are way past their prime. In Haney's case, when he fought Yuriorki Gamboa and when he fought Jorge Linares. All right, so Kambosos is a volume puncher. He's a come forward puncher. He's a very courageous fighter. He had the perfect plan of fight. The perfect plan to fight Teofimo Lopez. However, I believe that Teofimo Lopez, and you might correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Teofimo Lopez was not his best performance that night. All right, and there's a lot of not speculation, but the doctors that examined him after the fight said that he had problems with his lungs and he could have died in that fight. So health-wise, Teofimo Lopez was not 100%. The other factor that I believe that helped Kambosos win this fight was that basically Teofimo Lopez didn't have a good corner, guys. You know, his dad was just telling him, hey, just go out there and kill this guy, finish this guy, you know, knock this guy out. I mean, those are not instructions to give your corner or your fighter. And when you're in the corner, you gotta adapt, improvise, and overcome. You know, whatever your opponent brings, and if he's being successful, you have to overcome that success from your opponent and try to switch it. All right. So his corner didn't do that. He kept on trying to land one heavy punch where he can knock out his opponent. In this case, Teofimo did catch Kambosos at a point. Don't remember which round it was. And he was knocked down, but he was able to recover and finish the fight and win the upset decision. All right, beat Teofimo Lopez. I saw Kambosos win this fight with no problem. I don't think there was any type of controversy regarding the decision, in my opinion. But, and there's a big but, and I'll tell you what the big but is. Sorry guys, I've been up since really early this morning. Trying to get some water here in my system. A minute. Okay, sorry about that. The big but. The big but is, sorry. The big but is that basically, I think that George Kambosos was very, very lucky winning this fight. He had everything going for him. If you look at his performance, it was a great performance, very courageous, you know, perfect plan that he stuck to, and he was able to edge that decision. But I believe that George Kambosos is a one-hit wonder, and I'll tell you why. All right. If you put George Kambosos against any of the top elite fighters, like Tank, like Lomachenko, like Teofimo Lopez, and the lower of these guys, I mean, as far as what I consider the most, the lowest talented or the lowest, how can I say it? The fighter with the least the least elite type of experience, in my opinion, it would be Devin Haney. Out of these guys, out of Lomachenko, out of Teofimo Lopez, out of Tank Davis, he would be, in my opinion, the last guy. All right, he would be ranked number 4, in my opinion, among those guys. All right, so he's fighting the low-hanging fruit. I guess the guy that took the fight. So, however, Devin Haney is a fighter that is talented. He's got good technical skills. He is fast. He knows how to box really good. He's more of a technical type of fighter, like I said. And George Kambosos is more like a come forward volume puncher who has great timing, by the way. So remember what I've always said. Timing beats power and speed. So it's a fight that I consider to be a 50-50 fight right now. Anything can happen in boxing, but both of these guys don't have that overwhelming stopping power. All right. Now it's all up to the chin that these people have. I mean, whether they can take a punch and recover. We saw Haney recover from a really hard punch by Linares and was able to survive and finish the fight. However, in my opinion, he did lose those few last rounds against Linares. My opinion is that Kambosos is going to come in. He's going to try to pressure Haney as much as he can, cut off the ring, try to go to the body a lot, try to time Haney, catch him in between combinations and hurt him. All right, I believe he's going to be fighting very motivated in front of his crowd. However, sometimes this works like a double-edged sword, guys. When you're fighting in front of your people, you might get over emotional and you might try to do way too much, and that's when you can make a mistake. I've seen it happen many times where local fighters in front of their crowd, in front of their people, in front of their countrymen, in front of their family, try way too much and lose. Okay, I've seen Danny Garcia when he went to Puerto Rico and tried to claim back his Puerto Rican heritage. Fought in front of his people. That was one of his dreams, his father's dream. He fought Mauricio Herrera, the professor Mauricio Herrera. And in my opinion, Danny Garcia lost that fight. And like I said before, there are fighters that I like, but when I see a decision that is not correct, I will express my opinion. In my opinion, Danny Garcia lost that fight easily. All right, he was outpointed, he was outboxed, he was dominated by Mauricio Herrera. He didn't look like his usual self, and I don't know if that had to do with the pressure or fighting in front of these people, but unfortunately, Mauricio Herrera got robbed of that fight. He didn't get the decision, but that's another story. My point is that sometimes you try to do too much when you're fighting in front of your people, when you're fighting in front of your family. From my personal experience, I know that I did that many times, fighting in front of my family, and it was always kind of like an emotional experience when you do that. However, after a while, you get used to it. But in this case, fighting on Australia, I believe it's the first time he fights in front of his people. That might be overwhelming for Kambosos, or it might be something that will motivate him. Okay, so after saying all that, after seeing their last performances for both Haney and Kambosos, and seeing that both of these guys, their last 4 fights have come by decision, that their knockout ratio is about the same, about 50-something%. I can tell you that I am looking, I'm leaning towards, and I'm thinking that Kambosos has a little bit more power, more pop to his punches, and Haney might be a little chinny. I don't know why, but I feel this way. All right. However, and this is a big however, I think that the better boxer, the better fighter, the most skilled of these two individuals as far as boxing technique and fundamentals is Devin Haney. So my prediction is for this upcoming weekend, fight in Australia, for all the belts, for the unified title, for the lightweight division. All right, I believe that I'm tending to lean a little more for Devin Haney to win by either unanimous or split decision victory. I don't see this ending in a knockout. I could be wrong. And like I said before, I'm coming on a 5-6 winning streak for the last 5-6 fights. I've called it. I actually called this last fight. I said it was 6 to 8 rounds, and I was correct in forecasting Tank knocking out Rolando Romero in that amount of time, in 6 rounds. So some of it is luck, and some of it is a little bit of knowledge and breaking down the abilities of each one of the opponents, what their background is, who they have fought, how they have looked in the past, and the eye test also, guys. When I see a boxer, when I see a guy training in my gym, and I see them developing and sparring, I can actually see their growth, and I can actually see their development. and I can tell whether they're ready to step to the next level, whether they're ready for a fight, or they still need to tweak a few things more on the fundamental side, more on the defensive side, more on the strength, stamina side. I'm able to see all of that. So having said all of that, having seen both of these fighters perform in their last 4 or 5 fights, my prediction again, Devin Haney by split or unanimous decision. George Kambosos, like I said before, I like the guy. I like his attitude, his warrior spirit, and everything else. However, he's a one-hit wonder, in my opinion, guys. And sorry for you guys down under that you might feel that you don't agree with me. I know you love this guy, and you're welcome. Like I said before, you're welcome to post your comments here in my YouTube channel. I will answer each and every one of them, all right? As long as you do it respectfully, you don't call me, don't insult me just for sharing my opinion and having the constitutional right of freedom of speech and stating my opinion. As long as you remain respectful, I'll do the same. I have never disrespected anybody in this channel. I have never disrespected a boxer. I just give my opinions about fighters and the way they perform, all right? Their heart, their determination, whether they're cherry pickers, whether those guys that, you know, are trying to look for the easy way out. And I'm an old school guy. I admire fighters for what the wars they've been on. And you can make a lot of money nowadays evading or avoiding to fight, you know, the top fighters. That's the way things work nowadays. You know, now instead of the organizations making you fight top guys, they protect prima donnas and fighters that make a lot of money. And that's just the way it works now. And that's what I'm gonna have to basically get used to. But I'll call it out. When I see something like this, I will definitely call it out and I will state my opinion. And there's a lot of you guys out there who share the same opinion that I have. I know a lot of you guys that have actually said the same things about boxers nowadays. Some of these fighters that try and fight the big fights. So that is why I state my opinion. That is why sometimes it might be controversial, guys, right? But anyway, again, this next weekend, look forward to this fight. I see Devin Haney taking it by decision, like I said before. So I think that's all for now, guys. You know, please like, subscribe this channel, share it. My Instagram page, you can contact me at Coach Mario 57 on Instagram, or I invite you to come and like my Facebook page, which is Warriors Pride Boxing Academy. Warriors Pride Boxing Academy. Guys, this is Coach Mario, owner and head coach of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy, and this YouTube channel, Inside the Ropes by Coach Mario. Wishing you an excellent week. Next week, hardworking week. Look forward to hearing from you guys soon. And from Miami, Florida, this is Coach Mario saying peace, saludos, have an excellent week, and God bless you all.